Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. I really appreciate it. Well, today I'm super excited for all of you listeners to hear our guest. He has such amazing words of wisdom. I know, and I can't wait to chat with you further. So welcome, Mike C-Roc. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Mike is a fellow 10Xer. We know each other through the GrowthCon community with Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone. And he's an entrepreneur. He's the founder of the WAYMO movement and the host of the What Are You Made Of podcast. So welcome, Mike. I know I just gave a little introduction, but tell us all a little bit more about you and what you do.
Thank you, Tori. Well, I run a mortgage company, division of a mortgage company called Nations Lending. And we operate in the Mid-Atlantic region for my group and Southeastern Florida and Miami. And so I've been in the mortgage business since 2006 and in the real estate prior to that as well. But we got our company up and running like a machine. And we started trying to think to ourselves, how can we get known besides just in our local community? Like, how can we basically 10X it like you're talking about, but throw gasoline on the fire, steroids, whatever we got to do to blow it up. So we started thinking, okay, let's get known globally. And to get known globally, we were trying to think the best way. Well, podcast. So we started the What Are You Made Of podcast, and it's based on self-talk. I like to talk to myself a lot. I don't know if I'm weird in that way, but
all entrepreneurs do, right?
I'm very, very high on self-talk, positive self-talk. And What Are You Made Of is something that I've talked to myself a lot about, especially when I'm going through tough times, letdowns, setbacks, or if things are going great and I just want to push it to the next level. And so it's helped me. So I wanted to start sharing that with the world and inspire people with it. So that's where it got started. And let me tell you real quick, just like a background where my fire got lit was when I was 11 years old. My family I came from a broken family. I don't remember my parents together. And I moved in with my dad for about 3 years and went through some emotional and psychological abuse there. And again, I'd say that I love my dad to death. I don't get to talk to him anymore, but this is not to bash him by any means. I just want to let you know that what lit my fire at 11 years old when I decided to move out of the house, my dad basically, I felt at that age, gave up on me by crumpling up a $100 bill and throwing it at me and say, you're going to need this when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And I'm sure there were some things that were going on that as a kid, I don't know about, but as a kid and how it affected me, I thought two things at that moment when my hero was giving up on me. I thought, one, I can't be the only one in this situation. There's got to be somebody else that's going through this, and I'm going to help those people. And number two, I'm not going to let him win. And so I'm not going to let him be right. The stubborn part of me came out. So I've rode that wave and that fire for 30 some years now, but I really became aware of it 2 years ago. And that's when I started this movement. And I just wanted to tell the story because I know there's others out there that have been given up on or that have gone through setbacks or letdowns. And I want to help them push through it.
That's so inspiring and empowering too. Is that how you got involved with Grant Cardone? It's because he kind of has a similar story, more, I guess not similar, but he has a story about his dad. And I didn't know if that's maybe how you related with him.
Well, yeah, two ways. I was in a mortgage company. I've only been in the industry for two companies, and I wouldn't have left the first company if the leadership there wasn't was doing things the right way. I'll just leave it at that. So I had to pick up 22 employees and move to a new company and 3 branches. And it was very difficult for us to do that. We felt like we hit rock bottom. And I was looking for something, some kind of fire, some kind of, I don't know, something. And my brother read the 10X rule, my little brother who works with us, and he told me about it. So I read it. And I'm like, dude, this is what I've been living. And what happened, and I started watching Grant's videos. And of course, the father thing hit me too. But the way he talks, the way he goes about things was things that I've already done, but I didn't know if I was right in doing it because it's kind of hard and brash. So what it did was it gave me validation to act the way I normally felt like I should act. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
That's how I found it.
Awesome. So what's the backstory behind C-Roc?
Well, my last name's Ciorrocco. And when I was in college, I played football in college, and we came up with nicknames and what have you, but some people just call me C-Roc for short.
Yeah.
And then I got a funny story. I had a car. I think it was like a blue Eagle Talon. It was a pretty cool car back in the day. And I put C-Roc on the license plate. And so it stuck with me for those years. And then I guess it's just an easier thing to say. And then I started branding with it. Like it
It's
looks
awesome.
good, Mike C-Roc, and then people started sticking to it rather than Ciorrocco because people
Right.
don't remember that. So,
Or like I said, I don't know how to pronounce it. So if you want me to say your last name in the interview, let's just go with C-Roc.
yes, Ciorrocco. It's real easy though. It's not as bad as it
Ciorrocco.
looks.
All
Yeah.
right. Got it. So my podcast here, my YouTube channel is all about overcoming challenges and a positive mindset. So during these times of challenges, right now we didn't know this when we scheduled the interview actually, but we're in a quarantine and have a global pandemic going on. Obviously, a lot of people are struggling with a big challenge mentally, and some are losing their jobs too. So in challenging times like this, how do you push through and how do you keep that positive mindset?
Well, so first of all, we went through 2008, and 2008 was when the mortgage problem happened, and I was in the business at that time, and we made it through that. So what I did
Yeah.
at that moment, I wasn't prepared at that time. We made it through it, but I wasn't prepared like I am now. So what I did was I learned during that period of time, and I basically journaled. And I encourage everyone right now, as you're going through this, be looking around, be watching, and journal what you're seeing, how you're reacting to things, and then how things start to change every single day. Because what happens is that you can program yourself for the next time this happens. Because believe it or not, it may not be the same exact thing, but it's going to happen again. Something to this effect with the economy or what have you. So we prepared. So when this is all going on, I'm prepared now. I'm looking for opportunities. It's a totally different mindset. And now also in doing this, I'm not just doing this for myself. I have the podcast now. I have the outlets to be able to help other people go through this so they don't have to be stuck. So for those that are out of jobs right now, and for those that weren't prepared, what I would suggest right now is to, one, consider yourself if you want to be in the company, in the industry that you've been in, and see if it's not an opportunity to take your talents, reevaluate your value, and possibly upgrade your situation in a different industry or going out on your own possibly. And so that's what I would suggest taking a look at. But if people engage with me, if they listen to this and start engaging with me, follow me on Instagram at Mikey C-Roc with no K, MikeyCroc. And I will make sure that anybody reaches out to me that needs some encouragement. I'll help you because I've learned a lot to get through this, and I feel great right now. Actually, no, I don't feel great for other people that are sick. Obviously, people are struggling, but for our situation, I mean, we just set a record in our mortgage company this month, and we're getting ready to set another one next month. Because
congrats. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's because you've done the work though too. And not just with businesses and, finance wise. I mean, you've done the mental work too. And I think that's how you're coming out stronger on the other side of it.
Yeah. I mean, I read this book by Grant. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
And
I love
when
that
I read that,
in general.
that was going on during 2008 when he wrote it, or right coming out of it. And it told you how to deal with a situation when it's a recession. And so I read that. I'm coachable. And I thought to myself, okay, when this happens, and when it does happen, we all knew a recession was going to come at some point. We didn't know when or what was going to cause it. But when this happens, I'm not going to sulk. I'm not going to even think twice about anything but taking market share and dominating, figuring out a way to dominate, solve problems, help people, whatever I can do to get out there to do that. That's what we were going to do. And that's what took place. And I took my team. I have 30 some employees right now with my partners. And every single day when this was going down, we knew what we were going to say to our people, and we kept reiterating it each and every day and making sure. By the way, I'm going on and on here, but I got to tell you this. When you're in a business, we have 30 some employees, as I mentioned, but we're in the mortgage business as our vehicle, but really we feel like we're in the people building business. So we don't just look at our employees for what they're doing at work. We try to help them be better parents, better spouses, better people, healthier. We look at all those things to try to help build them up. If they want it, they got to want it, right?
Exactly.
And so during this whole thing, we're concerned with their families. We're concerned. So every day we have a meeting in the morning to touch base so people can voice, their feelings, what's going on, so we can possibly help them.
Yeah, that's a great idea, especially to keep your company close too. And everybody needs that community still, especially us extroverts. I don't know you that well personally yet, but I can tell that we're obviously extroverts if we're doing what we're doing. So that's a really awesome idea that you're doing with your company.
Thank you.
So,
thank God for Zoom, man, because if we didn't have Zoom and all the meetings that we're allowed to have now, I would be going nuts because I am a people person.
Oh, same here. Same here. I'm living on Zoom right now. So what are some of your daily habits that you do, not just during this crazy time in our country, in our world, but just on a daily basis to keep your mindset up?
Well, every morning, first thing I wake up, as soon as my eyes pop open, and this is exactly what I do. I think about how great it is to wake up for another day. One, first of all, and the opportunity that I have to lead and inspire people. I'm
Mm,
very, very thankful for that
amen.
because one, I'm passionate about it, so I get to do it, but I love it. And I just get that opportunity. I have a voice to talk. So I'm thankful for my voice. I'm
Yes.
thankful for my feet and my legs. I mean, I really literally, I know it sounds silly to some people. I go through these things in my mind before I hop out of bed. And then it prepares me. And the days that I don't do it for some reason, if I'm not disciplined those days, I notice the difference in my mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
first of all, gratitude, very important.
Yes.
And then and that's the way I do it. I mean, some people journal, but I just go through it in my mind and I pray. And then after that, the first thing I do is drink two glasses of water because I want to make sure I'm hydrated. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go and attack the day with a workout generally when we have a gym. And then I write my goals down every single day. By the way, that's another thing that if I skip writing my goals down, I feel it during the day and I look back
Mm-hmm.
that day and I'm like, man, my day just wasn't right. What was wrong with it? Oh, you know what? I wasn't clear on what I wanted to accomplish that day. I was all over the place. I was scattered. And so our team writes our goals down every day to make sure we stay focused. An amazing thing, Tori, is I wrote down some things and then I looked back a year later and the things that I was writing down blew me away while I was writing them down. But I look back and believe it or not, I accomplished them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
So
a
good.
crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's magic.
It is. I believe in magic. Why not? No, I totally agree. I do the same thing. I actually call them I am what I am because I actually write it down as if it's already happened, even if they haven't happened yet, right? So same thing as you. A year later, I look back and it's like, okay, I wrote this down a year ago that it was already happening. And then today I'm living in the reality. So do you write it down as if it's already happened?
Well, I've been messing around with that, honestly. I've been writing it down. I am this, I do this, I have this.
Right.
But then recently I switched because I read a book. No, one of the books I read. I didn't just read a book. I usually have it right here, but my son's reading it too. It's called Beyond Positive Thinking.
Okay.
And Dr. Robert Anthony wrote it, and it has changed my life. But he talks about how to write goals down and make it your intention to.
Hmm.
So I believed in the other way and it's worked. And why I'm switching this up is because of the content in that book is making me believe that I have to have clear intention. So I'm starting to use the word intention. I'm intending to. And so like,
I like
I
that.
mean, I have my book right here. So I intend to be husband and father of the year.
Hmm.
Um, I intend to be the puppet master and to be the cause versus being the puppet and the effect. So those are some things like little things
Interesting.
I think about. Intend to
Yeah.
have, the number of loans I want to close with our team in 2020. I intend to get our team to 100 million a month in loan volume. All kinds. So I read all these things down. So I'm trying to do this way just to see the difference and
Yeah,
see
I
if,
like that trial and error.
yeah. So
Hmm.
just based on the book that I'm reading but anyway, oh, by the way, the other thing I do every single day, 10 pages in the morning reading and 10 pages at night. Very important because that's how you can attack a book, one, and it's not so overwhelming looking at a 200 to 300 page book.
Yeah.
And you'll get through probably two books a month, probably roughly give or take, depending on the length of the book. But what
Hmm.
happens is when you do 10 pages at a time, you can absorb the content better. So 10 pages in the morning, 10 pages at night, 20 pages a day times 30, 600 pages a month. So I do that
There
every
you
day as
go.
well.
That's really good. It is one of those things I start reading and then I just want to keep going. If I'm into the book, it's like I can't just stop at 10 pages and then, before long, I'm 50 pages in and then, you do forget a little bit. So that's a good,
Yeah,
I'll have
yeah.
to try that. I'll have to
So
try it 10 in the morning, 10 at night.
instead of reading, you're more studying and consuming, which I
Hmm.
believe that you should do because a lot of times when you get 50 pages in, hopefully you picked up one thing, but you missed out on several other things that you could have absorbed
Right.
and thought about and meditated on.
Yes, exactly. So I have to kind of turn the tables here and ask you. I know on your podcast you ask every one of your guests, what are you made of? So now I'm going to turn the tables and ask you, what are you made of?
Well, here's the thing. So when I've learned when I was 11 years old was that people will give up on you, but they don't determine your outcome. So what I look at, and I mentioned this, are you the puppet master or are you the puppet? And I ask myself that question because I want to be the puppet master. I think everybody wants to be the puppet master. So when you react to people a certain way or respond to events a certain way and you're not in control, you become the puppet. So I look at myself and what I'm made of. I'm a puppet master. And so I want to inspire and be people's heroes. And that's the way I view myself, because I like the way Grant, for me, is a mentor, but also he was a hero. Like when he came in a situation in the time that I was in and gave me the validation to be an animal that I have inside of me, it made me feel good inside. So I want to give people that same feeling. And so the dominating rule, by the way, for the WAYMO movement, we have rules. So we have WAYMO rule number 1, and we make all these rules and we're putting them out. But the dominating rule, and rule number 1, is to turn all setbacks, letdowns, or anything that appears negative and convert it into rocket fuel for your future. And once you get this in your head, your life will never be the same, because what happens is you can handle any circumstance way better. You're the puppet master now, and you produce way more. I say way more, or way more. I say way more. Way more than you ever thought you could. So that's our dominating rule for the movement, and that's what I'm made of.
That's amazing. You just nailed it right there. Any lasting pieces of advice for anybody listening, especially during this time of fun little quarantine, these new little lifestyle, habits and just lifestyle in general that we have to live with now? Any other tips for people to stay sane, love on your family a little bit? I know you have a wife and children. Any tips for anybody listening that maybe have wife or husband or kids?
Yeah. So first and foremost, get on a structured schedule and be disciplined right now. Because when you're in your house, it's so easy to sit on the couch and watch TV, or get off your schedule, go to the fridge, or whatever the case is. So I like to make sure that you bear down and be disciplined right now, not just because it's not because it's like the cool thing to say or whatever, but it really works. Like when you go to work at the office, you know exactly what you're doing, right? When you're at home, there's so much vagueness, and your kids as well look up to you. And if your spouse looks up to you too, believe it or not, husbands and wives, your husband and wife, they're looking at you to see how you respond to things, how you react, how do you go about your day. So in order to make sure you're disciplined, make sure you're a role model, structure your day. And then also for your kids, we have a schedule for our kids, and we structure their days out and we hold them to it. And it's hard. It's hard at first. And it's so easy to just to fold when they get on you and they say, no, I don't want to do it, and what have you. But you got to stick to it. You got to bear down on them. And once they get on that schedule, you'll see a night and day difference with your kids as well.
They do. They model their parents for sure. I don't have children yet, but just from listening, I listen to Rachel and Dave Hollis's podcast all the time, and they're hilarious with their 4 kids. So that's phenomenal advice. So thank you so much. And if there's anybody listening that wants to reach out to you, I know you said your Instagram handle once, but just repeat it for me again, because there's a lot of people out there that I'm sure look up to you and they want you to be their hero.
Well, Tori, first of all, thank you for having me, and at Mikey C-Roc with no K on Instagram. Also, I want to give everyone a free copy of my blueprint to find out what you're made of. And so if you go to WAYMO Crew, WAYMO Crew, CREW, waymocrew.com/blueprint, you can download the free copy that I put together of the blueprint to find out what you're made of. It's what I personally use throughout my life. And also you'll have access to the private Facebook group, the What Are You Made Of Facebook group, if you go to that page.
Awesome. So great. So great. Thank you so much for being on the show, and stay healthy and stay safe and keep that positive mindset up.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Tori.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I did. Please put your comments below, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.